Medicare plans to provide coverage for a drug to treat Alzheimer's, but there is a catch. It may restrict coverage only to patients participating in approved clinical trials. The FDA approved it last June, and it's intended to slow disease progression. Dr. Kathryn Phillips is a professor of health economics at UCSF. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
First, can you tell us a little bit about this drug, how it works
Absolutely.
differently from other Alzheimer's drugs that currently exist?
Alzheimer's is a terrible disease and we have no cure for it, but we are developing these new drugs that could slow how the disease moves along in somebody. So they don't cure the disease, but they do better than just treating the symptoms. So that's how they're different from previous drugs. And the FDA did approve the first of these drugs, as you noted, but now the CMS that runs Medicare needs to make a coverage decision. So as you mentioned, they issued the draft coverage decision, which is now out.
So what is controversial about this drug so far?
Well, there's been a lot of debate about the drug. A lot of experts felt that the FDA should not have approved the drug at all because the benefits weren't clear enough. But it's important to understand that the FDA looks at safety and effectiveness. CMS looks at whether it's reasonable and necessary for patient health. So they are related, but two very different decisions. But the FDA's approval did leave CMS in a difficult situation.
So from what I understand, it's rare for the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services to limit coverage in such a dramatic way. Can you talk a little bit more about the details of the proposal here?
Yes, and it needs to be clear that the CMS had this tough decision to make, and they're not really limiting coverage. They're choosing a middle ground. Because the CMS could have said, we will cover everybody in Medicare that's eligible. But a lot of experts felt that that was not the way to go, given that we don't have enough evidence of this particular drug's benefits. The other alternative would be for Medicare not to cover any of the patients who want the drug. That would have been the other extreme. What CMS did was say, we will cover it, but we need to develop more evidence. Therefore, we will cover it within these clinical trials that will enable patients to get access to the drug, but so we can develop more evidence so we can actually learn whether it works.
So do you think that proposal makes sense?
Yes. Given that they really couldn't go either of the other directions in terms of covering everybody or covering nobody, this was the most reasonable middle ground, given that it will enable us to get more evidence. Now, people need to realize this will take several years. It's not going to happen overnight. And it remains to be seen whether that evidence will actually be produced. In the meantime, there are new drugs that are going to be coming out that may be better and that will hopefully help these patients with Alzheimer's.
So for somebody who has a family member dealing with Alzheimer's, should they talk to their doctor about this? Is there still a chance for them to get involved in one of these trials?
Yes, absolutely. You can get involved in this trial. The details are not out yet. But it is going to be open to an inclusive group of patients, wide range of diversity of patients, different areas of the country. So the idea is to be inclusive, and people can comment to CMS. There's a 30-day comment period. This is not the final decision yet. So people can submit comments if they wish.
Okay, and has the approval from the FDA at this point affected Medicare premiums at all?
There's been a lot of debate about whether this will increase premiums. My understanding is that they're looking again to see whether this decision should have an impact on premiums, but there's certainly been a lot of controversy because the drug is a high-cost drug. and it could be given to a lot of Medicare recipients, which means it could have a really big budget impact on Medicare.
It's always hard to understand when these very important medical issues come down to dollars and cents, but we certainly appreciate you helping make sense of it all for us, Dr. Kathryn Phillips with UCSF. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.